Now, let's concentrate on the first conditional first. We use it when talking about a situation which may exist in the future, and thus is a probable situation. We have a formula, and that is the subject plus the present simple. Then we need will plus infinitive. So the first part we call it a condition, and then the second part we call it a result. Just like my introductory example. If you watch this lesson, you'll learn the first conditional. Now, I could have said you'll learn the first conditional if you watch this lesson. It's the same thing. The only thing that changes is the importance that you want to give to the first part of the sentence. For example, in this case, you'll learn the first conditional is more important than if you watch this lesson.
Let's talk about the second conditional. Now, the second conditional, those are those if sentences. And the thing that you need to keep in mind is that we're always talking about a hypothetical situation. So you can think of it simply as a situation that is not real and not likely. It's improbable. So it's really important that you remember the second conditional is with hypothetical situations. So let me give you an example sentence. If I were you, I'd quit. Now this is a hypothetical situation, right? Because of course, I'm not you. And that's never going to happen. That situation is never going to be a reality. So it's our second conditional. If I were you. Now what do you notice here about my choice of verb tense? So here I'm using the verb to be in the past form. But of course, there are two different conjugations for the verb to be in the past form. We can use was or were. And your choice in the past simple form of the verb to be depends on the subject. And we use was for subjects I, he, she, and it. And we use were for subjects you, we, and they. But notice what I just said. If I were you, subject I, but I'm using were. And that's what you need to remember. In the second conditional, we always use were. We don't use was. If I were you. So, if I was you, I'd quit. This is grammatically incorrect because we don't conjugate the verb to be according to the subject. It's always were. Now, I'll be honest, this is a mistake that native English speakers make, so my friends make. I hear my friends say, if I was you. I hear that all the time. You just have to understand that's a grammar mistake. The correct form is were. If I were you. Let's look at another example sentence. If you won the lottery, you'd move abroad. If you won the lottery is hypothetical. You didn't win the lottery and it's not likely to happen. If you won the lottery, you'd move abroad. Now notice here, I'm not using the verb to be. I'm using the verb to win in the past form. So we don't have to use the verb to be. So let's look at our sentence structure for the second conditional. The sentence structure is if, subject, past simple form of the verb. And remember, for the verb to be, it's always were. And then of course you finish the sentence. Now, the second part of our structure, we need subject, would, and the base verb. The base verb is simply the infinitive without the to. But I want you to notice, with subject and would, a native speaker is going to use a contraction. So I said in my example, if I were you, I'd I'd quit. Which of course in the long form, that's if I were you, I would quit. But native speakers don't say that. We use the contraction. If I were you, I'd quit. So I encourage you to get comfortable with the contraction. So now you have the sentence structure and you know when to use the second conditional. So let's just look at a few more examples with different subjects and different verbs. If she were rich, she'd buy a Ferrari. Again, here's our verb to be in the past form. Now in the regular past simple, she was. But here, because it's the second conditional, that rule doesn't apply and it's always were. If she were rich, she's not rich, it's hypothetical. If she were rich, she'd buy a Ferrari. She'd buy a Ferrari. If we had more free time, we'd take a cooking class. If we had, so our verb here is had in the past form. If we had more time, we'd, our contraction, we would, we'd. If we had more free time, we'd take a cooking class. And finally, if they were younger, they'd go skydiving. They'd go, they would go. If they were younger, they'd go skydiving.
Can you make some more examples? Write them on the comment section below. Remember to click the subscribe button and ring the bell. Give us a thumbs up and see you guys on the next Mundo Inglés America video. Peace out.